Thanks. Hello. My name is Simone Regnier. I'm a visual artist. I've been in the Taos Fall Arts Festival, the Arte de Descartes show here in town, but I've never been in Romney's Binders of Women. Never been in that before. So these first couple of slides that you're seeing are coming out of a figure drawing class that takes place here in Taos. It's a Thursday night class. It's been going on for about 80 years, which is a lot of fun. We are open groups so that people can come and go as they please. It's 3 hours, and we're always looking for more artists and more models. So if you're either of those and want to talk to me afterwards, that would be great. My work is coming out of these sessions. It's all live models. I kind of like to leave things open-ended, as you can see. Sometimes less is more. I think for me, when I'm looking at something visually or something that I could live with, I don't really want to live with a picture of somebody else, but I want to live with a picture or an idea of a human being or of a person. Most of these are going to be pen and ink. I use a lot of Sharpie, which is a problem because it's not archival, so I'm running into trouble where I love that using them because I grew up using them, but I'm trying to move into finding more archival inks to work with. The kind of process of putting multiple figures on the page came out of actually a necessity where at the end of drawing for an evening, I end up with 25 sheets of naked people and they all go home with me, and it ends up to be like a lot of paper over a while. So I started to put multiple figures on sheets, and then liked the challenge of kind of making it balanced or finding where the visual pathway is, or whatever the model's choosing to pose as, trying to make that into something that's interesting to look at as far as what is going on the paper. This is another technique I use. So this is a collage of old and new drawings. Before I started doing them on one paper, I'm still trying to get all of those ideas and thoughts onto one sheet. And I like it too because I think that there's an idea of, none of us are just the one side or the one face or the one part. And for me, this is more about different sides of the same person as opposed to being multiple people. This is, again, collage technique. It's a chalk pastel. So then there are times too, after working on a piece during the evening, then when I get it back to my home and my studio where I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I have these other things I want to do. I want to add color. I want to use oil. So these are kind of those experiments, which I tend to try and keep and make them into something that's, that's pleasant to look at. I try not to get rid of any of it. Some of my pieces turn more into a graphic line, so that this started out as an image, and then I'm kind of taking it more into a graphic design place. And the next one, I have a love of collage. I don't do a lot of it, but I cut and I take a lot of stuff out of magazines. Like I have piles and piles of things that inspired me from magazines. So these were these like little chicks that I just loved. And this picture came out earlier, and actually the model had taken a hat and used it that day. And the two just fit together well for me. This is another technique I'm looking at. This is actually tracing paper. It's about 8 sheets of tracing paper. And I have one pose of the model on each sheet, and then I've kind of layered them. I'd love to have this kind of presented on a double-sided glass frame, so you can see both sides and both ways that the image layer. I love fabric. This is part of my recycled pieces, these next couple of slides. They're 3-dimensional. This is a recycled lining of a skirt that I kind of make into these 3-dimensional fabric flowers. I could be kind of crazy with it. I could sit at home and make these little flowers all day. This is a jewelry line that I do. It's, again, old jewelry, maybe something that's kind of archaic and not really used anymore, but I like to find new uses for it. That was a pin that I can turn into earrings, something a little bit more edgy. This was Orange Betty. She's 7.5 feet tall, so contrary to the popular argument about size not mattering, it does matter in art. She was part of an Arte de Descartes show, and it's the recycled baling twine. These are my assiettes. They're montaged pieces, so it's a candlestick on the bottom, a vintage plate on in the middle, and then that's a vase that the bird's sitting on. And these I cold solder together like JB Weld, and kind of just make them. They're pretty functional. This is another project I'm part of. This is the Runway Vigilantes. It's a fashion design group. We put on fashion shows here in town. Our next one's going to be Lighting of Ladue at Renew. Then this is kind of the series I'm moving into. So as a heterosexual female artist, we draw a lot of women. It's hard to get male models sometimes. And you don't always think about it, but then just lately I've been thinking about this idea of like, well then, so with males, what do I think is sensual, or what is masculine, or what is attractive to me as a female? So that's kind of the work that I'm moving into, and trying to just explore that a little bit more. And then this last slide was the slide that I had at the Taos Fall Arts Festival, which I was glad I put in because it's why Matthew and Richard asked me to do this. Thank you. But it's not finished. It's kind of just starting on that series of again, that masculine, or what is maleness, or a man's way of being kind of thing. Thank you.